Let's see. What's happening? Welcome, welcome. Type it up. See what's going on. My question is, can anybody guess what that is from? What movie is that from? The top one. Then for extra credit, the bottom one. Kind of a movie buff. Test your knowledge. Test your knowledge. Let's see. I was having fun with the chat here. Let me go black, y'all. We see something. We see something. There we go. All right, all right, all right. Let's look. Why is that doing that? I'm trying to bring the yeah, you can barely see that. Let's see here, filters. I'm trying to mess with my chat here. It is too dark. Yeah, let's try that. Or too light. Yeah, maybe that'll help. Let's check this out here. I don't know. Close and boom. You can see a little bit better. If I turn it all the way over here. Meh. It's not too bad. Kind of a newbie streamer. Just trying to check things out, see what's going on, how everything works. Let's see. Yeah. Got some new colors in the background. Finally figuring all that out. Make it look good. Making it look good. Let's see here. Well, let's see here. Well, we'll figure that out eventually. Let's see here. There it is. I found this really goofy game I was going to try, see how it is. It's called Last Shot. I was just testing it out. Kind of going over most of the news and media and everything else going on in the world, so I figured I'd break it up and see if I can play this game here. Be any good? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Okay. Oh, the last shot. Let's see here. I don't know. I played like 2 minutes of it the other day because I had to go. It looked cool. It's got a different setup. Oh, look at that, look at that. No letter. No letter. Oh, I guess you don't read. It's just she's going somewhere. join the army. Alrighty. Okay. Oh lordy. Let's see here. I'm gonna get up. Change. Guess it's the car. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna like that. Yeah. I don't know the game. I don't know the game. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Let's see here. I was trying to do it on Facebook too. Let's see here. There we go. Hmm. Well, I don't know. Let's see if we can. There we go. There's something else I'm needing. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Hmm. Check something real quick, y'all. Hmm. Let's see. There we go. see what's going on in the world. Let's do old Fox News. Man. See what this one's talking about here.
The height of the terrorism threat, and Obama was a president who took out people in Yemen, a guy named Anwar al-Awlaki, who we recently made the news because USAID paid for his college, got his son, etc. Trump administration recently hit an al-Qaeda financier in Syria, somebody else in Somalia. So there's a blueprint for this. And once they're designated, now you have that on the table, at least vis-a-vis American authorities. Now, the authorities where these people reside have a very different perspective on it, particularly Mexico relative to the cartels, or let's say Venezuela, and to a lesser extent Colombia, which run Nicaragua. If you don't know about...
Make sure something here. There we go.
I would just say that this special that's now on Fox Nation is really eye-opening because they punch above the weight of a normal criminal gang. They appear to be Venezuelan government linked. That was a revelation to me. There is a guy who was vice president of Venezuela for a while who's linked to the Middle East, Hezbollah adjacent. He seems to have...
Welcome in.
There's a lot going on with this group, and they're here. We ushered them in, and we pay for them.
Just kind of looking to see what's going on in the world today.
To the point that they're going to say all of these groups do categorize as terrorism, which is legally a little dicey. But if it goes that way and you see overseas strikes, it's going to be interesting to see how the leaders of these nations react. Maduro is now taking... How Sheinbaum going to feel about the fact that we're hitting meth labs and fentanyl places?
Right.
So there's a lot in
We've done
play
it before.
Here. We've done it before.
And it looks like we may be about to do it again. The president keeps bringing up the issue of fentanyl across the border, which tells us how serious he is about taking these out and sparing these parents. He has spent a lot of time with these families, and their stories are absolutely horrific and tragic. So we'll keep an eye on it. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Really good to see you. So the Houston Police Union calls it an unforgivable betrayal. A suspect in the murder of a 28-year-old sheriff's deputy is now free on bond. Correspondent Bill Melugin reporting live from Los Angeles. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Martha. Well, court records in Harris County, Texas show this is the first suspect charged with capital murder of a police officer to be released on bond in at least 20 years. And now the police union is blasting the judge who gave him that bond. So here's the backstory. Harris County Deputy Fernando Esqueda was gunned down and murdered while conducting surveillance in an unmarked police car in July 2024. There were 41 shell casings recovered at the scene of his death. One of the men charged in his murder and for tampering with the evidence is Draymond Francis. He was arrested back in November.
Welcome in.
At the time, the judge gave him a $1 million bond. That's despite prosecutors asking for no bond at all. Well, as of yesterday, Martha, Francis has posted bail and is now out of jail. The judge on this case is Judge Hillary Unger of the 248th District Criminal
$1 million
Court.
is a lot.
Our Fox colleague, Brooke Taylor, was a reporter in Houston for years. She says Judge Unger is very well known for letting repeat offenders out of jail on bond, and now the Houston Police Union is blasting her in a blistering statement. They say in part, quote, "This is not just a case of judicial incompetence. It is a disgraceful betrayal of public trust and a direct threat to every law-abiding citizen in Harris County. This is not an isolated case. Judge Unger has a history of prioritizing criminals over victims, undermining law enforcement, and making our streets more dangerous. If this case doesn't warrant a no-bond decision, then what does?" And Martha, it doesn't stop there. Back in 2019, this same judge, Judge Unger, gave bond to another man charged with capital murder. While he was out on bail, he then allegedly snatched a 73-year-old woman's purse, then ran her over and killed her. Her family says she would
What's
still
up,
be alive
Brenda?
today if this Judge Unger, hadn't let that suspect out of jail.
Been a long time.
Send it back to you.
Incredible. Bill, thank you very much. Imagine what's going through the minds of these family members in this situation. All right, so there is our live look back at the White House. We're waiting for Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He will be with
Welcome in, Shane.
President Trump, who has welcomed him to the White House today, and they are about to do the
Just going over some
and take questions from
news.
From each country, from the United States and from the United Kingdom. Next.
Dry.
Oh, commercial. Everybody hates commercials.
My business has tripled in the last year because of me sharing. I wouldn't be able
That's craziness. It's craziness.
without
Don't upload your videos.
Give me the good
YouTube.
stuff.
Upload to Restream, where we will live stream it to YouTube and all your platforms at once.
Just kind of seeing what's going on today. Regurgitate. I mean, there's a lot going on. 2025. A ton going on in 2025. You know, all kinds of investments deals. I mean, I wouldn't want to miss anything that's going on in the world today. You pay attention, you may get lucky. What you been up to, Shane? Oh. Let's see what's going on, if there's anything. Yeah. Sorry, there is a little bit of delay between when I get your message. So if that's why it takes about 10 seconds. Yeah, Shane thinks no bond on that dude. Yeah. I don't even know it sounds like he shot an officer and they let him out. So it's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, Shane says it should be 10 million. Yeah. It just makes you wonder how they judge that. Like, is there like just something that, you know, the judges can say whatever they want to do, or is it just something, you know, like what allows them to do whatever, you know? I have no idea. Let's see if there's something going on. Usually there's something pretty good going on today. Let's see here. I know there's a whole lot of stuff. There's a cabinet discussion the other day, just kind of an update. May have to go to YouTube to find it. Yeah, I know. I used to not ever watch the news. So I'm trying to find some positive. I know it's such a thing, right? Positive news. Elon seems to be doing a whole hell of a lot. So that's definitely something that's interesting. And today, let's see, Jub temporarily blocks. That's kind of old. That's a couple days ago. Let's see here. Let's see what's going on today. Epstein's list. You know, they keep talking about this list, but they never tend to post it. So I don't know what's going on with that. You know, I think they're just a big old struggle. Oh, Shane, Ukraine, Russia, and U.S. deal is crazy good right now. Yeah. They were talking about how, like, I'm sure everybody's heard, it's not necessarily negative, but like the gold card for pretty much the rich is the rich as hell. You know, $5 million to buy a gold card, which I guess is like the highway to citizenship. You know, good, bad, indifferent. I guess the last administration was giving it away. So this way they can raise money and pay off our debt as a country. So that's kind of cool. Let's see what, I think this is a day ago. Let's see what's going on here.
What is your number one tip for saving money? Easy. Pay off your credit card debt as soon as possible. So Elon, if you could get up and explain where you are, how you do.
Yeah, here you go.
How much we're cutting, and it's an honor to have you.
He's. I kind of watched this earlier, but he was just talking about all the things that are kind of a progress update on what's going on.
Businesses to run, and in many ways, they say, "How do you do this?" He's sacrificing a lot, and getting a lot of praise. I'll tell you, but he's also getting hit, and we would expect that, and that's the way it works. So I'd like to have Elon Musk please say a few words.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I actually just put myself the humble tech support here because
Tech support.
Actually,
Hey, that's a hell of a tech support.
that is almost a literal description of the work the Doge team is doing. Is helping fix the government computer.
I gotta pause it.
systems.
Could you imagine having Elon Musk as your tech guy that shows up at the house? Hey, you need faster internet? Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Hook me up with satellites and everything else. I mean, he's doing all kinds of stuff. He's bringing. I know he's bringing internet to like South Africa, kind of thing. Like he by planes and all kinds of funny stuff.
These systems are extremely old.
I was going to mention this too. I think it's funny. Like if you watch some of the other videos that he's in, you notice that he's like dressing like Clint Black. You know, he's got the hat, he's got the chain, he's got the black boots. In any of the interviews before, he would never wear like controversial stuff, but he's like wearing sunglasses. I'll see if I can find that video, but I think it's so hilarious because some of the things he wears and says, I mean, he's having a good time, you know, billionaire, pretty much taking the world to Mars kind of thing. And now he's cleaning up the government. So good, bad, and different. Anybody got opinions, you know, I love to hear them.
They don't communicate.
What could be the downfall?
Systems. The software
I
doesn't
don't know.
work.
Is there a downfall?
So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true.
Welcome in.
The overall goal here with the Doge team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rates, just the interest on the national debt.
Anybody got any good positives on Elon? Like,
we spend a lot on the defense policy.
what could happen if that goes negative? I don't know if it can happen.
If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt.
Kind of come back to that gold card.
It's an optional thing. It is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm here. And taking a lot of flack. And getting a lot
Shane, material wealth is crazy, awesome, and Ukraine, yeah. Will have us interest involved. Protection.
It has to be done.
Absolutely.
I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, knock on wood, we're ahead.
Shane, we need to get you in here, bud.
That we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of a $7 trillion budget. And obviously that can only be done with the support of.
And I know too, they go so fast with their projections and numbers. I mean, I can't keep up, but it sounds like a lot. So we'll see what happens. Could you imagine though, like all of a sudden the welfare programs are like in the hundreds of thousands? Like everybody's getting $100,000 check on welfare because we're such a rich country. I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome. I mean, if they could literally turn the whole, you know, Titanic around kind of thing.
Everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. So it's really Doge is a support function for the president and for the agencies, departments, to help achieve those savings and to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste. And we bring the receipts. So people say, like, well, is this real? Just go to Doge.gov. We line item by line item. We specify each item. So, and
that's the thing. I've never done that before. I've never actually gone to the Doge site, so that'll be something we'll explore here in a little while.
So, for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly.
Welcome in.
Is the role of prevention. I think we all want the role of prevention.
It's a new one's coming in. We're just watching the interview from Musk to kind of get an update. We were just kind of making fun that he's like wearing all black, Clint Black style, and you know, in his past history before, he's never worn like the chains and the black boots. and stuff like that. So it's just kind of fun. He's having a good time with it. This guy's going to take us to Mars, kind of thing. So let's see what he says.
We restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption. But we do need to move quickly if we're to achieve a $1 trillion deficit reduction in financial year 2026. It requires saving $4 billion per day every day from now through the end of September.
That's a lot of money.
But we can do it, and we will do it.
Would you have any questions of Elon while we're on the subject of those? Because we'll finish off with that. And if you would have any questions, please ask. You could ask
Little
me
teacup.
or Elon. Go ahead,
Little
please.
teacup action.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. Musk. Just wanted to ask you that President Trump put out a Truth Social today saying that everybody in the cabinet was happy with you. I just wondered if you had heard otherwise, if you had heard anything about members of the cabinet who weren't happy with the way things were going. And if so, what are you doing to address those any dissatisfaction?
Why can't you stay organised? I've experienced this myself, and it's called chronic impulse control, where you prioritise short-term actions like gaming and social media until it's the end of the workday, and you still haven't gotten anything done. And I've wasted a day prioritising my short-term pleasures over
Sorry, I'm
my
messing with it.
goals. So let me show you how.
Hey, Elon, let the
There we go.
captain speak just for a second. Unhappy to say it.
Welcome in. They were also talking about, I was just going to add this, but they, in earlier interviews when I was watching, they were talking about citizens getting potentially $5,000, a paycheck for $5,000. Now, my question is that monthly? Is that quarterly? Is that something that you're just going to, the American people kind of get a kickback on all the savings? I mean, or how about just, hey, no taxes this year, kind of thing. And I know that'd be some heavy stuff, but that's interesting stuff.
A lot of respect for Elon and that he's doing this, and some disagree a little bit, but I will tell you, for the most part, I think everyone's not only happy, they're thrilled. So go ahead. I'm grateful.
And President Trump has put together
The Johnny Cash. That's what I was thinking of. The Johnny Cash of the government.
literally. So, and I do not give false praise. This is an incredible group of people. I don't think that such a talented team has actually ever been assembled. I think it's literally the best.
Assemble.
And I think the company should be incredibly appreciative of people in this room.
Mr. Musk. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. Musk. About half of the government employees so far appear to have responded to your request for what they've been doing with the past week. Is there a timeline in place for next moves for people being fired and what can there people expect to see?
Man, you got to ask yourself, could you imagine being an employer and I don't know the numbers, but they're talking about how, millions of employees that they're thinking that aren't not only not showing up to work, because they're working from home, but there's fraudulent employees. They don't check in with a supervisor. They don't have they come into the office and they write down this and, you're telling me that there are millions of employees getting paid with zero accountability or supervision. There's no way. If that's the case, there's some serious fraudulent action going on. And the question is, what are they going to do about it? If you have, most other jobs, you short them an hour, you short them a couple hours, you take a longer lunch, they're writing you up. Someone's going to get fired. So I'm just curious. To what level can they, hey, you got to pay us back? Are these foreign countries with foreign employees? I'm just curious to see how this is going to develop in the future.
Results. Yes. Well, to be clear, I think that email perhaps was misinterpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a plus check review.
I'm curious on kind of Shane about that monthly, or if it's going to be something they can continue to do.
This is, I think not a high bar, is what I'm saying. This is should be anyone can accomplish this. But what we are trying to get to the bottom of is we think there are a number of people on the payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond. And some people who are not real people, like they're literally fictional individuals that are collecting paychecks. And well, somebody's collecting paychecks on a fictional individual, so we're just literally trying to figure out,
Wow,
are
people
these
that are
people
dead.
real? Are they alive? And can they write an email? Which I think is a reasonable expectation for the American public would have at least that expectation of someone that owns it.
Mr. Moss, roughly a million.
At least
employees-
that.
It's not a high bar, guys. Come on.
At least have a
roughly
pulse.
a million
All right?
employees have responded so far to this email. Does that mean that the remaining 1 million or so federal employees now risk being terminated? And is it your understanding and expectation when you post a directive on X that the cabinet secretaries will follow that order? Because several agencies have instructed employees that this is voluntary or not to respond.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I guess it was like last week, the president encouraged me via Truth Social and also via a phone call to be more aggressive. And I was like, okay, yes, sir, Mr. President, we'll indeed do that. The president is the commander in chief. I do what the president asks. And I said, can we send out an email to everyone just saying what did you get done last week? The president said yes, so it did that. We got a partial response. We're going to send another email. But our goal is not to be capricious or unfair. We want to give people every opportunity to send an email. And the email could simply be, what I'm working on is too sensitive or classified to describe. Like literally just, that would be sufficient. I think this is just common sense.
And what is your target number for how many workers, employees you're looking to cut total?
We wish to keep everyone who is doing a job that is essential and doing that job well. But if the job is not essential or they're not doing the job well, they obviously should not be on the public herald.
Welcome in.
I'd like to add that those million people that haven't responded, though, Elon, they are on the bubble. I wouldn't say that.
Could you imagine, getting it? I mean, they're obviously looking to fire or clear the books of payments going out of the paycheck here or from the company. But I mean, hey, your supervisor, hey, yeah, don't respond. I'm going to respond to that, especially if I'm making a federal employee staying home. I'm definitely going to make that my priority. But then they're also like, I know that they've been telling them like to organize their response. So it's all the same response. But that to me sounds like fraud too, because if I had 100 fake employees, I would want to respond with all the same email too. I mean, that could be done, I'm sure, pretty easily. So that's just something to think about when they're looking for these things. How are they checking for fraud upon fraud? I don't know. I guess it's just the second round.
Now, maybe they don't exist. Maybe we're paying people that don't exist. Don't forget, we just got here. This group just got here. But those people are on the bubble, as they say. Maybe they're going to be gone. Maybe they're not around. Maybe they have other jobs. Maybe they moved and they're not where they're supposed to be. A lot of things could have happened. I wouldn't say that Biden ran a very tight administration. They spent money like
that's the nicest thing he's ever said.
Before, wasted money. The Green New Scam, all of the different things they spent money on. And you've seen that. You've seen that with some of the things that I read in speeches. I read them and people can't believe when I read them. 20 million here, 30 million here for, educational costs on something. Circumcision, right? Circumcision. $20 million to inform the people of such and such a country on other things other than.
I was going to say, mention too, man, it's crazy how he almost says the same thing probably on every single video. Or, I mean, he repeats and repeats. And I guess you have to. Maybe it's a strategy. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely, Shane. They're talking about, the stimulus checks. That would be pretty awesome, $5,000.
So, those people are, right now we're trying to find out who those people are that haven't responded. Now, there'll be some agencies like Markle has people within state that are right now doing very classified, very confidential work, and we understand that. We've talked, and we're being a little more.
Yeah, they should know though if a job title is under a classification of top secret or sensitive material. I mean, there's only, I'm sure there's, job titles.
Surgical, and Marco's doing a lot of things himself. He's and some of the secretaries. We're going to be going to them. We're going to be talking about it today. We're going to ask them to do their own DOJ. In other words, they'll look in their group, and I spoke with Lee Zeldin. He thinks he's going to be cutting 65% or so of the people from environmental, and we're going to speed up the process too at the same time. You had a lot of people that weren't doing their job; they were just obstructionists, and a lot of people that didn't exist. I guess we found a lot of empty spots. And the people weren't there; they didn't exist. I think education is going to be one of those. You go around Washington, you see all these buildings with the Department of Education. We want to move education back to the states where it belongs. Iowa should have education. Indiana should run their own education. You're going to see education go way up. Right now, we're ranked.
I can honestly say I have no idea how that will affect. Are they going to fund the states? Or are they cutting all funding in the states, or just responsible for funding their own education system now? Or I have no idea. I know when they brought it up in past, they were talking about how the Department of Education really didn't do anything. Like there was, if you were to outline what they actually do, and like I said, I'm absolutely teachers have the roughest and toughest job, but I'm just curious what slingshot effect is that going to do on our economy, or in terms of our kids. I know when COVID hit, I mean, they were already falling behind anyway. So, what's that going to look like? I don't know.
At the very bottom of the list, but we're at the top of the list in one thing: the cost per pupil. We spend more money per pupil than any other country in the world, and yet it's Denmark and Norway, Sweden, and I hate to say this, and we're going to get along very well with China, but it's a competitor. They're at the top of the list. They're among the top 10 usually, and they're a very big country, so we can't use that as an excuse, right? Because we're a very big country too, but we were ranked last time under Biden. We were ranked 40 out of 40. They do the 40 certain nations that they've done for a long time. It seems to be 40 for whatever reason. And we were ranked number 40. A year ago we were 38, and we were 39. We hit 40. And so we're last in that, and we're first in cost per pupil. So I would say that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I would say so, right? A lot of that had to do with COVID. I know that.
Hi, I'm Mike Rowe, and if you spend a little time in Oklahoma...
Shane's, you got to hear it over and over and over again until it sinks in. I agree with you on that. Let's see what's going on here. The old Epstein list. Yeah. First cabinet meeting, that was a full one. Yeah, see anything else going on here? I know they were talking about how they can actually clear the debt, which is pretty awesome. They're talking about there's a good chance with the gold card that $5 million, and I guess he's got a lot of friends that want to do it. They can pay and they can become a U.S. citizen, and they're saying just for every purchase, something like that, it just gets the American people out of the hole. And I know this last administration, they were just kind of giving them away. So I don't know. Let's see what happens on that. I know there's more predictions and world largest money laundering scheme. Let's see what we got.
Chairwoman, and I appreciate you holding this hearing. I appreciate you witnesses for being here.
Let's see what
it's been astonishing to watch. We already knew that there was a tremendous amount of waste, fraud, and abuse in our federal government, but to watch over the last few weeks as the extent and egregiousness of it has been revealed. I've said a number of times how aggravating it is that this government is forcing the American people to pay for the demise of their own country. We've seen this a number of times, especially in how foreign aid is treated. And much of this funding we're realizing now, as Mr. O'Neill has pointed out, we're uncovering is the world's largest money laundering scheme in history. And so I would like to think that if these kind of things were put to a vote, that our friends on the left wouldn't vote to support a pickle maker in the Ukraine, or to have transgender operas in other countries, or to send people to Paris Fashion Week and the like. I would like to think that was a vote that would also get a no vote on the other side of the aisle, that this dollar should be funding. But you got to wonder about the vitriol you see when these things come uncovered to protect these things. Now, definitely the border trafficking institution that was set up, the complete industry.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Really saw
I agree.
These taxpayer dollar funds were going to these NGOs that were purely leftist organizations that were turning out voters and getting all this, basically being a campaign front at taxpayer expense. And so you got to wonder how this is happening, because this is not in the legislation. There's no line item in the legislation that has these sort of things.
Welcome in.
So, Mr. Primack, I'd like to ask you, where are these decisions being made? Who's making the decisions about where these dollars go?
This is a combination of cooperation between the Congress and the White House. I can tell you that during my tenure at USAID, everything that we did had strong bipartisan support. Unfortunately, when President Biden came in,
but it's someone in an agency somewhere, is that right? Making the decision how's that decision made? Who's making that decision? Like, that is before the check goes out.
Yeah. What do you think? He's trying to find out, who do they press charges on? who do we get for spending all this dollar amount, or And I can imagine why he's saying it too, because he's like, who do we blame? Who do we point the finger at? That's crazy. Just the amount of money spent.
It starts with the administrator, goes down to the bureau level and the office level. But in the end, contract officers have to make sure that the Office of Acquisition Procurement, that these are following U.S. laws and the policies of the president.
Contract officers. Now, are these people elected?
He just said that because everybody's
making these, certain decisions.
Elon Musk a hard time.
USAID that is elected.
So the people sending the money are not elected officials. Okay, just wanted to clarify that. One of the issues we've had is trying to track this dollars once it goes out, to bring accountability to it. And
poking the bear.
And there is no connection that we've been able to find to an employee ID number, for example. Connected to where the grant money is going out, or the contract money is going out. We're working on legislation to fix that. But one of the things that's really disturbing is the fact that some of the money that's going out doesn't even have a name of where it's going out. You talked about that, Mr. Roman. Could you speak to that for a second? It's to the tune of billions of dollars.
Correct. Miscellaneous
billions.
Foreign awardees. The issue with it is that
billions of dollars.
Grantees have to apply for a vetting process that USAID conducts in terms of a government review, including with counterterrorism databases. There's a self-certification process by their sub-grantees. It's as if though you hire a contractor who has to redo your living room, and he hires a bunch of robbers and take everything out, and you're left with the spades on the wall rather than having a fully renovated room itself.
And so some of these dollars have been going to support terrorist organizations.
Right.
Taxpayer dollars going to support. Now, what would happen if we found a business that was funneling money to
young Al Gore?
They would be indicted. They would be
sorry. Shane was
trial, go to jail for
commenting on
money laundering or for
how the guy looks.
Terrorism.
So this is one of those cases where it's only legal if the government's doing it.
Right. In the opening chairman's remarks, she was saying that this is about fraud, waste, and abuse, and if there's anyone else, it's as if though a private citizen can't do this, but if a U.S. government agency or bureaucrat wants to give money to a terror organization, it's okay.
Yeah, I find that atrocious. I think the American people do too. Mr. Primack, I want to touch on one thing, because I've talked to ambassadors across the world, and you hear this. We'd like to align ourselves with the United States. We don't want to align ourselves with China, but when we're talking to China, they're talking roads, bridges, infrastructure, those kind of things. Things we traditionally know as soft power. But right now, when they're talking to the United States, what they've got from our State Department over the last few years is social reengineering. Many of them have come to say, our nation espouses Judeo-Christian values. They don't. And even as I talk to pastors across our country who are working to send millions into missionaries, their eyes in Christian universities to understand the fact that our State Department is actually sending billions to counteract those ideals. Could you speak to that?
You can quickly answer. We have to move on.
I've spoken to many foreign African officials, for example, when they're meeting with Mr. Blinken, they were ready to talk counter-genocide. Instead, they got to social reengineering.
Man, billions. I'm sure that's on the Doge site. You know, that's something. Let's see here. What is it? I think it's just Doge.com. Right? That's Dodge. Let's see here. Man, this new House Secretary, she's a pistol. She is a pistol. I don't know if you guys pay attention to her, but man, she knows what she's talking about. Let's see here. Go back up there. Oh, this is live, so we can listen to this one.
Looking to skyrocket your YouTube channel? Let Sprizzy boost you to the top. Use
That's nuts. Billions of dollars. Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Well, why don't you identify your question and I'll come back to you. Sure, go
Thank
ahead.
you. So, what guarantee that Israel will withdraw from Lebanon soil after 2 weeks, as the ceasefire terms was indicates?
I'm not sure about the guarantee that you're referring to. I can tell you that this administration remains very much engaged. We know that the deadline for the phase 1 ceasefire is imminent. So Steve Woodcock, whom I mentioned earlier, and the president's administration and his team and the president himself remain very much engaged. We want to see the ceasefire continue, and the president has made it very clear he wants to see all of the hostages who have been held in captivity in Gaza returned home. Jeff.
Carol, I was wondering if is Elon Musk going to attend the president's first cabinet meeting tomorrow?
He is, as a matter of fact. I spoke to the president about that before coming down here as well. And Elon, considering he is working alongside the president and our cabinet secretaries, this entire administration will be in attendance tomorrow just to talk about Doge's efforts and how all of the cabinet secretaries are identifying waste, fraud, and abuse at their respective agencies. We look forward to the meeting tomorrow, and I think you'll be hearing from the president and his cabinet where they're on campus tomorrow. I hope you guys are excited.
So some of those cabinet members were caught off guard by the email
Nobody
from
was caught
Saturday.
off guard.
Yeah. Nothing crazy going on there, but I wanted to go over the gold card because I think
breaking
that's
news we brought you at 3 p.m. President Trump proposing a $5 million gold card.
He says it would be
There it
similar
is.
to a green card with a route to citizenship. And our Mark Quinterolos is live in the newsroom with the very latest. Mark.
David and Ellen, you could imagine reaction starting to pour in on this. The president announced this proposal just a couple of hours ago from the Oval Office.
We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 billion, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship.
Do I get a car wash with that?
Coming into our country by buying this card, they'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people.
The administration says it will use this to replace the EB-5 program, which allowed investors and their families to apply for a green card if they make necessary investments in the U.S. commercially and plan to create or preserve 10 full-time jobs for U.S. workers. The president claims that this is totally legal and expects that millions of so-called gold cards will be bought. We, of course, will monitor this story and bring you any updates. Live in the newsroom, Mark Quinterolos, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, 27-year-old as sharp as can
If
be.
your e-commerce store is in
And she's 27. You talking about her? She's 27.
Outdated classic e-com model. Looks something like this. Run.
Let's bring in our next guest, whose firm is one of the leading players in citizenship by investment. He says they've already been fielding a lot.
Now, I guess I missed this before about the whole investment side, but I thought the $5 million is the investment, but is there other like, hey, you got to put $1 billion into the gas hole or something like that?
A lot of questions about these gold card plans, but even more, interestingly, about the potential end of that EB-5 program. Let's bring in Basil Morel-Zeki. He's a managing partner at Henley & Partners. Basil, it's great to have you here, and we'll just start with the gold card idea. You think people would already be jumping at the opportunity?
I think there's significant interest. Everybody's very curious about what that will look like. What will be the criteria? I mean, they know the EB-5 has been in place since the 90s. They're just wondering, with that additional premium or the 6x amount
Yeah, I
that
don't
they're
remember
going to
who
be giving
Kayla
or
was.
investing, what does that come with in terms of pathway to citizenship? What are the tax benefits that Robert alluded to earlier? So we're certainly getting interest, and the phones are off the hook.
The EB-5 program, as I understand it, is more for disadvantaged areas. Is that right? And a lot of people say it's been plagued with problems or fraud, or it just hasn't lived up to expectations. So what has it done? Who is involved with that? Who would be affected if it did sunset? I'm not sure if it would, but if it did.
So it's completely normal that over time we have changes in programs. As mentioned earlier, the EB-5 has been in place since the 90s. They had a recent change probably in 2022 from 500,000 to 800,000, and the demand still continues. Now, certainly there were certain investment projects that perhaps didn't come to fruition, but there are also other viable projects that are stable with good track records. So the EB-5 program, although it has its problems, was a widely successful program. Now, due to the outstanding demand, I'm not surprised that Trump is increasing the threshold, because right now the program is quite successful, but perhaps it's going to be even easier with the gold card. But that to be seen, depending on the residency requirements, the taxation requirements, in addition to where that 5 million will go.
So do you think you'd have a list of tens, hundreds, thousands of people who would want to do this? Do any other kind of develop?
Okay, standard minimum amount 1.8. Target employment. So I guess they have to also employ so many. I thought they said $5 million though. So I mean, when they say standard minimum, I don't know where the 1.8 came in.
Developed countries offer something like this?
They do. So you have New Zealand that has a program. You're looking at around 5 to 10 million New Zealand.
Oh, there's other programs like that out there already.
You have Malta that has a route to citizenship that is approximately around 1 million. That takes 18 months. So these are pretty popular programs. Golden visa programs have been there for quite some time. The purpose is to stimulate the economies. And now it's...
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know there was... I'm surprised they hadn't said that. Like, hey, this is not like just some fly-by-night thing that they put together, that this is kind of a thing already.
Really gaining popularity. People are investing more and more into these programs. So I think the U.S. has a very interesting value add in everybody's passport portfolio.
Yeah, same qualifications as dating your daughter. You know,
32%.
You have a job, a car, and a bank account.
Is in the U.S.
Are you responsible?
They're still inheriting the majority of millionaires are right under the UAE. So that being said, I mean, with top-tier healthcare, top-tier education, vibrant economy, the U.S. has quite a, even though the 5 million might seem expensive, it does have a very strong value proposition.
Are you a real estate investor?
Oh, another commercial.
Real estate investor?
Oh my God. Okay, let's see what's going on. That's nuts. Let's see.
Dubai. Well, you too.
Oh,
and get
this
not a
is
green
switched
card,
over, so.
but a gold card.
I'm trying to find things that are interesting, kind of sift through the
plus lawsuits have been
the crazy.
Let's bring in our next guest, whose firm is one of the leading players in citizenship by investment. He says they've already been.
Updating
Can't talk
news,
about that
we brought
already.
you at 3 p.m. President Trump proposing a $5 million gold card.
Hey, but that's good to know. It's not like, because I thought it was something he just randomly came up with. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's a great idea. Brenda, that's it's a good idea. Because I know I was trying to find the interview where they're saying that they're estimating that there could be a literal possibility that we could be out of complete debt and actually be out of our deficit. And like you said, if that's the case, does that mean we get like a check, like it's an investment when they're doing that well? I don't know. Is that something that they're already talking about the 5 million? Where'd that come from? But I think they're just trying to get, people excited about saving money and, all that good stuff. So we'll see what else is going on here. Yeah, we talked about the gold card. That was another question too. Like a lot of this stuff why didn't we do that the first administration on Trump's side? I wonder what kind of brought all this up. Maybe just the overspending from the last administration and then clean house. Cause there's clips where other presidents have gone and, they've done the same thing where they cleaned up different spending habits or different presidents, administration type stuff. So I'm just curious. Let's see if we can find something. Find something good. 2 hours ago, humiliates. Now there's nothing. This guy's pretty good. I like this guy. Let's see what he's got. This guy's an attorney.
Ad block from Capital One Shopping, and you need to too.
I believe it's an accounting
It's a
attorney.
desktop extension that blocks all ads on my.
So he really breaks down things and that kind of thing. So we'll see. See what he says here.
Fund for the United States.
We're going to have a sovereign wealth fund, which we've never had. We have a lot of things that create wealth.
This has the potential to change the way that our economy operates, but most people have no idea of what a sovereign wealth fund is, how it works, let alone how you can profit from it. But that changes today. You can think of a sovereign wealth fund kind of like an investment account for the government. But instead of you investing your money to fund a nice retirement, the government is investing money to hopefully buy some nicer things for its citizens. I say hopefully because sometimes sovereign wealth funds can hit huge home runs, but other times it doesn't work so great. This is where a lot of people get caught up in the political side of these arguments as to whether it's good or whether it's not. I want you, as a financially savvy investor, to take it one step further and understand, if this is going to happen, how can you find the investment opportunity? Because President Trump says that he wants the United States Sovereign Wealth Fund to be the largest one in the world, which means this could definitely move markets and create an investment opportunity for the people that understand it.
So that's another thing too. What's going to happen? In 2025, supposedly all this money's coming in. He's letting everybody come in terms of, hey, you get all the, you're getting a break, you're getting all these tax breaks and stuff. So that I would guess that it sounds like that commercial real estate is going to go through the roof very soon. I would only guess that but again, are we only talking about like giga factories like Tesla, or are we talking about like, hey, we want an extra Walmart or a Target? I mean, I don't know. It's very interesting to kind of just take a gander at and go, hey, what is this going to look like for the average investor, the average person? I don't know. We'll have to keep it posted, and I'll see if I can find anything else on it. But that's all I have for you today, guys. We'll definitely keep in. If you guys would like, follow, all that good stuff. I'm on Twitch as well. If you guys would Twitch and Facebook. So if you guys follow me, and we'll see what's going on in the future. Until then, adios.